Hello, my name is Marissa Fieldstein and I'll be presenting about the Lower East Side Manhattan in the 1930s. I chose this topic because this is the time period that my grandparents grew up, immigrated from Eastern Europe, and settled in New York City. It was really interesting to talk to them about their childhoods and understand what life was like then and how it is different from life today. I'm eager to share with you what I've learned, so come on with me to a journey back to Lower East Side.
Hallelujah, לעולם. Hallelujah, ישירו כולם. במילה אחת בודדה, הלב מלא בהמון תודה, והולם גם הוא איזה עולם נפלא.
My great-grandmother, Eva, traveled on a ship for 3 weeks with 2 young sons. They were headed to America, a place with streets paved with gold. They had big dreams, but even bigger fears. They were going to a new place. They didn't know the language. They didn't know anybody. She was going to meet her husband, who she hadn't seen for 5 years. It was scary. For the first time, she had to worry about providing for a family in a new country. And it wasn't like providing today. Money was different. Everything was different. When my great-grandfather passed away, my great-grandmother Eva got nothing. No money. There was no Social Security. There was no insurance. Nobody could afford it. In those days, you bought 1 garment of clothing a year. My grandma said you washed it, you wore it. It was good. Those were hard times. But then Franklin Roosevelt came into office.
Brother, can you spare a dime?
The synagogue was actually the main source of entertainment for most people living in the Lower East Side during the Depression. My grandmother describes the synagogue as being the center of life, religious life, cultural life, social life. It was filled with people who lived in the same town, who immigrated at the same time. Oftentimes, Friday night dinners, Friday night services, Saturday morning services, and whatever meal followed, that was the activity. My grandmother remembers accompanying her mother to services on Eldridge Street. And the synagogue at Eldridge Street still stands today as a real great testament to the spirit that it created during this time. Learning more about the value of the synagogue in Lower East Side culture helped me to understand why every time I talked to my grandfather, he always asked me about synagogue. He asked who I spent Shabbos with and if I've gone to any dances at the local Chabad house and just what I've been involved with in terms of myself as a Jewish person. And even though I do attend Shabbat dinner and I do go to Jewish programs, it's not all I do. It's more of a part, a side, of all the different ways I spend my time. But in the 1930s, in the Lower East Side, the synagogue was the center of life, the center of religious life and cultural life and social life. So understanding that through my research helped me to understand why my grandfather asked me all the time. Because for him, the synagogue was the core of life. And I'm really glad I've come to that understanding.
שמח, ולב שמח, ולרחים, ולב שמח.
goal of my presentation was to give you a brief overview of some of the special places in the Lower East Side and what the time was like during the 1930s when my grandparents grew up in Manhattan. I hope that I've opened your mind a little bit to think critically about the different places and cultures that existed and its effect on maybe you and somebody who you know and love. I hope I've provided some great resources for you to look a little bit more deeply and gain a richer understanding of this time period. And now I have some questions for you.